Hey my lovely foodies, I know it has been a while, but happy Easter when it comes, and your girl is back for good. I'll be teaching you today how to make this really good Easter bun. So these are all the ingredients we'll need for a bun, but of course the link will be in the description box with the full recipe on my website. Check that out. So let's jump right into it. So I have my pot here over low heat, really low heat. I'm going to add stout to this. I'm using Guinness stout, but you can use dragon stout, but I don't have dragon stout today. So to this, I'm going to add some brown sugar. You don't need much sugar for this recipe. You don't need this to be too sweet. Next, I'm going in with some jam. Use the jam of your choice. Next, I'm going in with honey. Now, to get some color and also some flavor, I'm going to add molasses and browning. Then I'm going to be adding in some vanilla extract. Then I'll be going in with some oil. This will help to get your bun nice and moist. Next, I'm going in with some unsalted butter. Then I'm going to add some of the red wine that the raisins have been soaking in. You don't need to add too much of this. Alright, that'll do. So I'll just keep stirring this or whisking this until everything is nice and dissolved. That sugar, that jam, and that butter. And you want to do this over low heat. You don't want to cook this. You don't want to see big bubbles in this. No, just heat it up, and you need to allow this to cool down completely. You need this to get to room temperature after you're finished doing all this. Now, I left mine for about 30 minutes, and this is it. It's nice and at room temperature. So now it's time for me to add in the eggs and other things. But before I add that, I forgot to add the salt before, so I'm adding the salt now. I'm going to mix it together, get that salt nice and dissolved. Then I'm going to go in with the egg. But before I add the egg, I'm going to add some lemon zest to the egg. Kind of whisk that up, beat that in the egg, because this will help to cut the rawness. And listen, you don't want to add your egg to warm or hot liquid, okay? So make sure that this cools down completely. So in with the egg and lemon zest, mix this up. Just kind of whisk this until the egg and everything is just nice and incorporated. You just have a nice liquid, and this is smelling so good. Nice and stouty. Okay, I'm going to rest that to the side, and now for the dry ingredients. First, I am going to go in with some all-purpose flour. Add that to my bowl. You don't need to run this through a sieve or anything like that. Next, I'm going in with the spices. This is a spiced bun, so this is mace, nutmeg, cloves, cinnamon, all of that. Next, I'm going in with some active dry yeast. Don't worry guys, if you're wondering about the measurement, it will be in the description box. Click on the link, it will take you to my website. You will get the detailed recipe with all the measurements. All right, so here I'm just mixing everything together. You know, you need to get those spices nice and evenly distributed. So next, I'm going to add in the raisins. These raisins were soaking in some red wine. You're adding the raisins to the dry ingredients because you don't want these to sink. You want the raisins to be all over your bun. So make sure you add them to the dry ingredients before you add the wet ingredients. Or you can simply dust these and then you add them to your bun mixture. It's all up to you, but I think this way is just easier. So I'll leave the liquid for later because if I need it, I can add it to the mixture. So now I'm just going to move that around, move the raisins around, get them nice and covered in all this dry ingredients goodness, and this smells so good, all those spices. So now I'm adding the dry ingredients, the wet ingredients to the dry ingredients, or you can add the dry ingredients to the wet ingredients also, because we're going to use all of this all in. I'm not using any specific technique for this. I'm just mixing. It doesn't matter, just mix this nice and together. And be careful, don't waste the flour because you need all the ingredients. Alright, just mix, mix, mix until I think that everything is nice and together. I'm just using a regular whisk here, and then I'll just go in with a spatula to scrape down the edges of my bowl, because as I said, we want to get everything in our bun. And if you're seeing some little grains here, guys, you're seeing the active dry yeast, because the grains are really big. So that's what you're seeing here. I'm trying to get in the rest of the wet ingredients, and I want everything in. And while I was mixing this, I thought the consistency just wasn't right. But the little wine that was left from the soaked raisins, trust me, that made the difference, and it wasn't much of it, but that was exactly what it wanted. Trust me, guys, everything here is just right. You get the perfect texture for your bun. It's not cakey, it's not pudding-like. It's just the right texture that I know that buns are supposed to have. So now I'm going to transfer this to a lined and greased tin. This is just enough to give you one bun. So if you want 2 or 3, you can definitely double or triple the recipe. And if you need yours darker, you can add more browning. So I'm going to add that all in. Then I'm just going to kind of knock that on the table for everything to, you know, settle, and so there can be no air bubbles. Bake that. Then I'm going to be, while that's baking, I'm actually going to be making the syrup or the glaze to add on to the bun when the bun comes out of the oven. I'm baking the bun for 1 hour or 1 hour 10 minutes. This is honey, butter, and jam. Alright, guys, about that time the bun is out of the oven. My oven was a little bit too hot, hence the crack on top of my bun. So ensure that you turn your oven down. I was using an electric oven, so it just goes like that sometimes, but this was still perfect. I'm adding the hot glaze. You want to add the glaze to your bun when your bun is right out the oven, fresh out the oven. You don't want to wait until this cools. Add your glaze right now, because that will just soak into the bun, and that will give the outer part of the bun that nice bunny texture. Add that all over your bun, to the sides, on top. I'm adding it in the crack. Alrighty. And after my bun cools down, this is it. Voila, perfection. The texture is everything. I was really hoping for this texture, really bun like. It's perfect, perfect, perfect. Look at this, guys, amazing. I can't really have cheese, so I'm not having cheese with my bun, but trust me, this was perfect. Look at these slices, guys, and remember, you will be able to find the recipe on my website. The link will be in the description box and also pinned in the comment section. Thank you guys for sticking around and showing Roma's Kitchen some love. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, share the video, subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for watching once more. Until next video.